A lot of moving and a lot of shaking in the NFC and the NFL and the NFC East and Cowboy related in a way. I'm Mike Fisher, your trusty and trusted reporter. Breakfast at Fish and East, 7:20 every morning, 6 p.m. every night, or whenever we damn please. I'm Mike Fisher, your trusty and trusted reporter. Did I already say that? This is the Fishbowl. That is the Star. Our colleague Brian Broaddus was the first that I've seen to say, hey, what about the Dallas Cowboys and Travis Hunter? And as we often say on this program, just like my third grade teacher used to say in math class, when I could somehow end up usually getting the answer, but I had no idea how I got there, she'd write in the margin in red pen, show your work. And I'm like, but Mrs. Tyson, I can't. I don't know how to do math. And I barely still do. But I do demand that others show their work. So when we're getting, whether it's media people or fans or whatever, Daniel Jeremiah, who does a great job, he did a thing the other day. I wish the Cowboys would just do something fun and aggressive and sexy. I don't want that. I mean, unless it's a winning deal. I want the Cowboys to make moves. If I'm a Cowboy fan, I want the Cowboys to make winning moves, not funny moves. And so here comes Broaddus, former Cowboy scout, and our man on 105.3 The Fan, my longtime wedded partners, who says, all right, let's take a look at this Travis Hunter, Colorado, two-way Heisman super stud. Free agency has passed through the first wave, kind of through the second wave. Now that Trayvon Diggs' brother is not a Cowboy, he's going to the Patriots. Now that we've got some settling in the NFC East, where the new Giants quarterbacks can be Russell Wilson. I always like to mention, at least the Cowboys don't have to play Aaron Rodgers, but I think Russell Wilson's regular season record against the Cowboys is 5-1 and 0-1 in the playoffs. So that's not great either. But I think I like the Cowboys to be better than Russell Wilson's Giants. I think it is worth noting. Russell Wilson is the first real quarterback, not that he's still good. He's the first real quarterback the Cowboys have had since Eli Manning. And I'm not even sure Eli Manning was even good. You get in, you get on, you be good, and you help me out here with your thoughts. I don't need you to say, this is ridiculous. I'm saying I've got an NFL scout and a guy that used to help run an NFL team saying, well, how would you do this? So let's do the exercise. Here comes the next phase for the Cowboys and the other 31 teams. There probably is going to be a gap now between a lot of activity. Many of you have asked, Cowboys have $39 million or so in cap room. Are they done? They can't be done. But maybe they're taking a nap as we get ready for the draft. The Cowboys, critical. If you're trying to do the blow it up and spend the money and not be meh multiple years in a row, Jerry and Steven, let's get this fixed now. The Cowboys still have holes, and I've mentioned the four. A real run-stopping defensive tackle, a real starting cornerback, a helper in the offensive line, and a number 2 wide receiver that you have to game plan for. Okay? The number 12 pick in the draft. They could sit there. First of all, they could go sign one. As I'm speaking to you now, there's still a handful of those guys out there. Diggs no longer in the group. You can draft at 12 and get one. I think. Most people think. It can be Tet. It can be Golden. It could be Luther. It could be Ohio State. You can get it done at 12. And maybe that guy steps right in. Or you do this. You take what some people think is a gamble, but I don't see it as very, very risky if you could have it play out this way. Travis Hunter, uniquely gifted. Outside of a quarterback, uniquely gifted. Plays wide receiver at the highest level. Plays cornerback at the highest level. Said last night, as I asked one prominent NFL head coach, what would you do with him? He said, we'd take him. We're not dumb. We'd figure out what we do with it. We'd figure it out. Remember when the Cowboys drafted Micah Parsons? And they thought they were getting basically an inside linebacker. They thought they were getting a middle linebacker who could run. And I was there the first week at training camp in Oxnard, and they're having him do everything. And it was about 10 days in when Mike McCarthy, we were in a conversation with him, and he said, we got to back off. We're so impressed with all the things he could do that we're putting too much on his plate. Well, now here we are. And he's Defensive Player of the Year candidate every year, and putting things on his plate has worked out fine. And it turns out he's a pass rusher now and still do the other things. Remember, I'm going to play all 11 positions, and he almost did. He's a premium pass rusher now who can do other things. You get Travis Hunter on your team, and you figure it out. You get Travis Hunter on whatever team. The Browns, the Titans, we're going to take Cam Ward. The Titans, the Browns, the Giants, you figure it out. If you look at Pro Football Focus's mock draft, and this would give a team not in the top handful some hope if you already have a quarterback. They have Travis Hunter sliding down to 5, where the Jaguars would take him. So Broadus had suggested on the radio, Dallas, you take number 12. You call Jacksonville. You take 12, your second round pick, and your 5th round pick. And you jump up those handful of spots and get to 5. Now, we might argue maybe you need to get up to 4. But in this Pro Football Focus draft, they go Cam Ward first, Abdul Carter second. The first 3 are Cam Ward, Shador, and Carter. And then they have the offensive lineman going forth, Armand Membe. I'm not saying he's not good. He's not Travis Hunter. If you want to steal the spotlight and be fun and aggressive and sexy and spicy, well, this would do that. I don't want to be spicy. I just want my football team to be good. So you would lay the groundwork with this in advance. You would pull the trigger on draft night. I haven't even looked this up because I trust Broadus. I'm going to assume that when you go to the trade value chart, which people give credit to Jimmy Johnson for, it was actually Cowboys staffer and oil and gas magnate Mike McCoy who made it up and then gave it to Jimmy. I'm going to assume that when you add up the points, 12 plus 44 and a 5th round pick add up points value to 5. I'm sure it does, or Broadus wouldn't have taken us this far. So it adds up. It's fair. When people say, I wouldn't do that, it's too much. It's not too much. That's how much, that it's $1 in exchange for 4 quarters. Or I wouldn't do that, it's too little. It's not too little. It's $1 versus 4 quarters. It's all about whether or not you value that player. And I would. Travis Hunter, he has been the best cornerback. Somebody said last night, how do you do against certain teams? By and large, he won the Heisman Trophy. By and large, he's been the best defensive player on the field in every game he's ever played in his life. And he's been the best offensive player on the field. I should say almost every game of his life. That translates. You don't lose that. Not if you love football and you're healthy and you're mentally stable. And he's got it all. Should a team in the top 5 say goodbye to him? Sure. You have to like what you're going to get at 12, and you have to trust what you're going to get at 44 and that 5th round pick. There are gripes to be had with the Cowboy roster, and I mentioned the 4 of them. Now, he doesn't help in the offensive line, and he doesn't help as a run-stopping defensive tackle. He comes here and starts at cornerback, and then if you're that coach who's saying, we'll figure it out, the Cowboys roster today He starts at cornerback, and he's in the starting rotation as a wide receiver today. You're going to wear him down? You need to be careful about that. Although he plays all the snaps in college, but yes, you need to be aware of that. Can it be too much on his plate, like it was for Micah for a minute? By the way, it was too much on Micah's plate for like a minute. About 3 weeks later, it wasn't too much on his plate. He was doing 11 positions. You're kind of getting 2 players with 1 pick. Something that you can't do otherwise. I'm not a big baseball guy anymore, and I'm not saying he's Babe Ruth, but you get a guy who can pitch and bat cleanup. I guess we have somebody in the major leagues who can do that, right? You have somebody who's an all-star hitter and a starting rotational pitcher. That's 2 guys. Travis Hunter's 2 guys. Talking about the Jaguar specifics, bore me. And I will review all your comments, of course, as we go. For this exercise, I don't care what the Jaguars need. They need players. They need a lot of players. So do the Cowboys. If you found a way to do this, you would get a lot of players with 1 pick. So Jacksonville, they're in a semi-rebuild, obviously. Dallas is in a blow-it-up remodel. Jacksonville trades down, picks up draft capital, and Dallas hits a home run. Is it sexy? Yes. Is it a headline stealer? Yes. Is it juicy? Yes. Is it fun and aggressive? Yeah, all that stuff. But it's football. The price is exactly right to do this. He's the best player in this draft. He's the most unique player to come around in the longest of times. And this idea, I don't know if it's catching traction inside of buildings, like the Star, but it's catching traction among smart media people. And of course, it starts with Broadus, and now you get to be smart too. Go get more at cowboyscountry.com. We'll have Fish at 6 tonight live, of course, and we appreciate you hanging out with us here. 74,000 fish heads in Cowboys Nation. Can't be wrong. Straight dope, no bullsh. Fish out.